yeah, this is the way how you even can reach higher returns than you can have with normal property returns. Then we have more income streams, yeah, than with just rental income.
Welcome to the Ideal Investor Show. This is the podcast where we help you challenge your mindset and discover where you are. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ideal Investor Show. And you guys, if you come here regularly, you know that we always look to bring you interesting, sometimes exotic, sometimes special guests. And today I would almost say we have like a combination, a little bit of all of it. And that is Kevin Beutler is our guest today from Bali Invest. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here. And I think we will have an interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. And I think for our audience that is regularly listening, they will say, don't these guys sound a little bit alike in the way they speak English? So I want to tell the audience, Kevin and I have started a very early stage collaboration because I think what he is doing is really cool. And for our existing customers and future customers and clients and mentoring clients, it could be a really interesting alternative. And we're going to talk about that. But I want to also mention that Kevin is originally from Germany. So we could theoretically, not helping the audience, but we could do this whole thing in German. And we both have a little bit of an accent in that direction. So Kevin, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit, how did you end up in Bali? How does a nice German guy start a real estate company in Bali?
Yeah, I mean, actually, to be honest, the situation in Germany is not that nice. We was already speak before about that. So I think many Germans, especially the Germans who go the entrepreneur way, they move out of Germany. But yeah, actually, I was start my career on the building side. Yeah, I was working as a bricklayer. But after 2 years in my early stage, so I was 16, 17 years old on the building side, I completely said this is not the life what I want. So I yeah, go back to school, do my education, do my A levels, and then I was study fitness economics. So yeah, I was doing bodybuilding for many years, and so like I make my hobby as my job. And after studying 3 years fitness economics, and yeah, then I was doing my first self-employed experiences. Yeah, so doing online fitness coaching. I set up a YouTube channel. I set up Instagram. I coach client online, and I think 2017 to 2018, I was in Brazil with my ex-girlfriend, and there I had the mind shift. Yeah? I was New Year on the New Year time. All the people they need trainings plans, education plans, and then I think in December 2017 and January 2018, both my months combined, I earned online more than $10,000. And in my study, I was a dual study. I worked as a personal trainer in the studio and go to university. I get like 500 euros. And then I said, I make 10 times more with my side business than with the regular business. And then I completely cut off. I go into the yeah, entrepreneur journey, and but I need always new challenges. So then that's why I moved then from fitness into finance, into alternative investments. First, this was with gold, silver, other precious metals. And yeah, I think 2019, I get into the crypto space. And then the really successful journey started. So we set up a huge business in the education space also. So we give people education about crypto, about tokenization, give them coin tips. And yeah, like many of our audience might be know, 2020, 2021, the crypto market raise up crazy. My income gets really up. We make more than 44 million in sales from 2020 to 2022, and do good investments. And yeah, this was also the reason when the income raise up, I don't want to pay this high taxes in Germany. And already when I was in Brazil, I take the decision in my mind, when the money is there, I move out. And this was pandemic, so I don't had many options. I was 1 month in Cyprus. After this, I get the possibility to go to Bali with a business visa. And when I arrived, this was just amazing. Yeah, so it was completely mind shift for me again. And yeah, then I start to save the money from crypto in the Bali real estate market. In the pandemic, I get good land prices. Then after the pandemic, the land prices goes up. I make also even with land investments, doubled or tripled some investments. And yeah, this was the way how I got into the real estate market. And yeah, I mean, I have a Balinese wife since 4 years now already married here. We have the company since 2022, finished already the first resort, the Zigara Seaside Resort, and yeah, everything works quite well, I would say.
Okay, yeah, that's a really interesting and very diverse story. Thank you for telling that. One thing I'm kind of curious, because part of the podcast, I at least very much like a little bit of an educational portion for our
Yeah.
listeners in the context of investing and how to handle your money and stuff. So one thing based on what you just described, I'm kind of curious about. I remember crypto went from like in the 10, 15,000 for, I'm always referencing Bitcoin because I think that's the easiest reference than all the other 7,000 different coins that are out there. But I remember like before the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, we were like in the 10 to 20,000 for a while range. And then as you mentioned, the value of Bitcoin and the associate or the other coins went up massively, like what, 10, 20 times or even more. My point is, or my
Yeah.
question is, it's one thing to basically, I always say, it's a little bit like surfing, right? Like, so you paddle out, you're looking at the water, and I'm not a surfer, I just understand the principle, and then you select, okay, this is a developing wave, and you start trying to catch it and get up on your feet, and so now hopefully you're on the board and the wave is building. I think the really interesting trick, so to speak, or question is, when do you know that you don't want to wait until it crashes on the beach and is done and is gone, right? Like you mentioned that you made these huge profits and then got into real estate. Was there anything where you just set yourself a level and then determine, okay, I realize I have a bunch of profits or half profits, or how did you do that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question because I also had so many other examples. I mean, when we built up this education platform, we had really child, yeah, 18, 19, 20-year-old boys or young men. They raised up the portfolio from a few $1,000s to even $1 million, and they not saved the money. Many of the people lose also all the money. So this is a really good question. Yeah, I would say it's I don't want to say it's luck, but you definitely have to you just have to realize that it's not getting in one direction. So I mean, I had some investment. This was crazy. For example, Veracity, it's raised up. I invested one Bitcoin to this time. Bitcoin was $30,000, and this investment was on the highest point, was at around $4 million. So this is completely insane. And even I don't save all the money, but I take seven figure out there, but I also can say in public that I lose seven figure with this. So I don't make it 100% correctly, but I would say I saved it good. I mean, you also have to sell step by step your portfolio. Some people say always I have to go all in and I have to go all out. But the trick is just sell 20%. So your investment double, take your investment out. When it's make then 10 times, sell 20%. If it goes more up 10, even save again 20%. And this is how I always do it. I always save the money, save the money, save the money, take out. And I would say this is it. You really have to go step by step out and always save it because, yeah, like I said, crypto is always in these crazy waves. And I mean, when you 10 times your investment or 20 times, 30 times your investment, it's huge. You never can do this in the stock market or in the real estate market. So you really have to settle yourself down and say, hey, and say already, hey, it's crazy profit. For sure, I also had some investments. They make a I don't know, double or make it four times. But and I sell everything, and after this, it went 20 times up again. And I said, "Oh, when I not sell this investment, then I even make a few millions more." But you don't have to do this in mind. You always have to say, "Hey, in a short period of time, in 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, you." Multiply your investment, and it's already completely crazy. And yeah, I think this is a big point. So
Yeah,
don't want too
absolutely.
much.
Thank you for
Yeah.
describing it. I'm grateful for you, Kevin, to describe it this way. Is that one goal in a volatile, high risk investment scenario arena should always be to take out your original own money as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically, in a sense, a little bit the idea of letting, when we go to the surfing, right, like to the analogy, is when you have basically been able to transition from one wave to the next one, then you're not really using your own assets anymore. You're basically, it's almost like other people's money, right? And this is a little bit also what we're doing in real estate, at least in the one approach that we do with our residential real estate, is to say, okay, instead of buying the property all out cash 100%, we basically trying to use leverage. So our own money is 20 or 25%. The bank's money is the other 75 or 80%. And that is basically allowing our money to go further. And ideally, you know, in an investment, if you were to say, okay, I have $150,000, you can then have 3 houses, or in your case, 3 types of coins, rather than just one, right? And all 3 can perform. And if one performs good, the other one medium, and the other one not so good, you're kind of averaging out. If you set everything on one thing, and yes, you can say I own it outright, but then you're also taking the risk of only having this one thing. Hey, let's take a quick break for a message from our sponsors. If you're serious about growing your wealth, you know the best opportunities aren't always the most obvious. That's why we've partnered with Bob Benodas of Franchise with Bob. He specializes in helping investors like you leverage franchising an overlooked but highly profitable way to create semi-passive income. And for a limited time, Bob is giving our listeners access to his course on franchise investing for free. Inside, you'll learn how to evaluate franchises, minimize risk, and maximize your returns. This course is normally sold for $499, so don't miss out and claim your free course now at edu.franchisewithbob.com/idea. Now, you mentioned already a little bit about the tokenized approach for Bali Invest. So before we jump into that, can you tell a little bit what are the kinds of properties that Bali Invest is actually offering?
So this was actually the point, because when I see so many people losing their money, that this was the idea of Bali Invest, because I see so many people don't save the money correctly. This could have many reasons, because they was greedy, or because they don't had the options to switch the investments in more safer options. And then we said, hey, let's do huge real estate projects like luxury resorts, and we give the people access to it through tokenization, because they can take part in huge luxury project we have a worth of a few $1,000,000 with even smaller amounts through this tokenization. So this was the idea behind it. And yeah, this is how we started in 2022. For sure, the first 3 to 6 months was a lot of due diligence, a lot of legal aspects, and find out what is the right way to do it here in Indonesia. And yeah, after this, we start with the Segara Seaside Resort, was already finished now. We are already open since September 2024, running already profitable. The returns for the investors will be more than 10%. And we actually starting in the low season. The high season just started now in April, May 2025. And yeah, this is the way how you even can reach higher returns than you can have with normal property returns. Then we have more income streams. Yeah, than with just rental incomes.
Okay, and then just for people to understand the Segara resort, would you call it vacation resort, or can you describe a little bit, you know, how is it being used? What is it offering to, you know, and who is actually utilizing it? If you separate the investor from the people that come to the resort.
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, first, I think is the strategic location. We will see that Bali have some areas like Canggu and Seminyak who's complete overcrowded, whereas so many development projects, and we have a huge inflation of villa projects. That's why we thought we go in different areas who's might be not that much developed, but have a huge potential for the future. And we see on the neighbor island of Bali, Nusa Ceningan, there's just built up a new harbor, and in Sanur is also new harbor, and the connection is just 20 to 30 minutes. So, and then we said, hey, we decide to make a project here on this island. We have now like a beachfront property. We have infinity pool in front with a pool bar. Then we have 6 bungalows. We have a restaurant on 2 stairs. And behind it, we have built 6 villas. And we offer also water sports activities. And now we also do an extension project. So we're building like sauna, ice bath, recovery space, massage directly next to it. And 500 meters away, we're building a gym where we also can for sure attract more day guests. And the investors, they profit from all the income streams. And so we put everything in one pot together, and the investors who invested early in this project, they participate from all these income streams, and we take care about the rental, about the day guest, about the restaurant, and we take 20% of the profits, and our investors get 80% of the profits.
Okay, very good. So fundamentally, let me describe what I understand, and then you tell me where I'm right and where I'm wrong. So
yeah.
Number one, I hear you say if theoretically, and what's the next one that you're doing? Do you know the name already?
Yeah, the next one is also this is the extension project here. This is just in the planning. Our next ongoing project is in the north of Bali, in Lovina. There we're building a retreat and wellness center. And after we finish Segara, we already had in mind we want to build a project we have even more income streams. And in this retreat and wellness center, we have a huge retreat villa with 9 bedrooms where we can do masterminds, retreats.
Yeah, I meant more the name, Kevin. Sorry for interrupting. Do we have a name for that already?
For the Lovina Retreat and Wellness Center,
It's called Lovina, or maybe
Lovina Retreat and Wellness Center.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
What I'm getting at. So what I heard you say is, when you first started, or somewhere around, somebody could say, okay, there is a company that Kevin's organization has created for Segara, and to become a co-owner of this company, somebody can basically purchase, and I know you call them tokens, and there's a reason for calling them tokens. And by the way, anybody who listens to us, I've done a whole bunch of episodes about tokenizing and tokenized real estate and so forth. So you may have heard me talk about it, but that's kind of what Kevin does. But for easy understanding and without going into too much detail, it basically builds a company and says this company has shares. This is a little bit more common knowledge. And each share at the beginning, let's say, has a value of $7,000. Right? So now people can say, okay, we invite people to become owners of the Segara company. Kevin's organization, Bali Invest, I don't know how much you hold, like 20% or maybe a little more than that, is their part, and the other 80% or 75% is available for public investors. So now you're basically buying the shares. All the investors together with Kevin's company own Segara company, Segara LLC, or whatever the exact name is. And
Nusa Ceningan Investment Group.
Yeah, right. But the point is, okay, so we're all co-owners now together with Kevin in Segara, in the company. And the company has developed under Kevin's oversight, because he knows construction and stuff like that, this vacation resort with all the things that he mentioned that are provided to the guests. And so they basically bring in the guests, they manage the property, they keep everything clean, they have the restaurant and the facilities and so forth. And people come and spend a few days or a week or a couple of weeks for vacation, and they pay for that. And as you said, Kevin, the organization Segara is basically doing a profit and loss evaluation on a regular basis to say, okay, what did we collect money in? Did we have any financing? What costs did we have to operate and so forth? Are we profitable? And you already said, yes, the Segara resort in and of itself is already profitable. And so the audience, you guys out there might say, well, Axel, why did you bring Kevin in? And obviously, number one answer is because we want to celebrate his success. But number two is the partnership that we are doing, in a sense, by making this known, is that this new resort will basically have the same principle, right? And so people will again be able to buy tokens, as you call them, or shares in parts in the next development, and then also benefit from the profits when that goes active. Is that about a fair description on how this works?
Exactly, you describe it perfect. This is exactly the point where I stop, because in the Lovina Regional Wellness Center, we will have even more income streams, because in this Regional Wellness Center, we also will have a beauty clinic, we will have sauna, spa, gym integrated, we will have a podcast studio where they sometimes they charge for a day in a podcast studio like $900 in Bali. It's completely insane in income stream with this. And then like the retreat villa, we have 31 different type of villas there, day club, restaurant, health shop. So overall, we will have 9 different income streams in this resort. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. One thing in this context that I would be kind of curious, there is this kind of nomad worker community, and I think it's fair to say that Bali is pretty well known for attracting that
Yeah.
community. For your resorts, I initially, when we first got to know each other, it sounded to me more it's like for people who want to go on vacation, maybe a little bit higher end location than going to Mallorca or something like that. But but how much do you think, or do you actually attract any of those kind of digital nomads, digital workers in that general area in Bali?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially now when Canggu and Seminyak get from the prices really up, and also from the life quality, you have a lot of traffic problems. So many people and so many digital nomads, they like to move on the neighbor island, or they like to move in other areas who's not that overcrowded, and where they can have a relaxed lifestyle. So this is also part of the concept here, because we on the island here, we work together with Starlink, with Elon, and he's doing a great job, because the internet is super strong here. And even that's the reason why many people come here as a day guest and sitting in the resort, doing their workspace here. And so many young, really success-driven people who coming here also for connecting. We do also 1 time a month, we do a networking and mastermind event. Just now, Saturday, the next one will happen. The first was already good success. People also can see that on our YouTube channel. We also documentate everything. We have a good social media team. And yeah, it's great. And also, we always get to know really interesting people. Here's sometimes people, they in the young age, they 20 to 25, and they make like millions of dollars with e-commerce businesses, where I personally, I don't have any idea about e-commerce, but I see that some people get crazy successful with this.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
interesting to
And I
see.
mean, nowadays I really believe in this more and more online business world, when you really even
Yeah.
and it's kind of not obvious that real estate is in a sense a facilitator in this context, is everybody likes to be in nice locations at least for a limited amount of time, right? Whether you can do
Yeah.
this once a year or multiple times a year, or if you decide you want to be a digital nomad and go to these different locations throughout the year. But somebody, for example, with a huge e-commerce following, to be able to say, hey, I'm here right now and I have a deal with Kevin where if you want to come here as well, you get a discount or something like that. Those are, I think, the really interesting kind of relationships and connections that can evolve. Now, that being said, I wanted kind of as a last question, I wanted to ask you, for somebody contemplating to invest in like the next Segara, so to speak, opportunity, to what extent do they get any, besides just being a regular guest, do they get any benefits or any kind of extra treatment if they are a co-owner to come and also enjoy the resort for a certain amount of time per year or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we don't we decided to not do like this timeshare model because this was already super unsuccessful that people can stay for free in a resort. I mean, in the Lovina Retreat and Wellness Center, we have actually 300 investors already in. And for example, if we say everyone can come for 1 week free, the resort will not profitable. It doesn't make sense. But we give them discount depending how much shares you have on this project. You get a discount from 10 to 35%. And the highest discount is like 35% for the people who have 125 shares and more. One share is $1,400, so this will be an investment of around 170,000 dollars when they want to have the maximum discount. And they also can give discount even a little bit lower to family and friends. So they can say, hey, I'm a co-owner, I have 125 shares. Me personally, I get 35% discount, and I can give even 15% to family and friends.
No, I was just, kind of to make a bridge or build a little bit of a bridge to say these are the kinds of investments in contrast to what we normally do, right? Like our model, Ideal Wealth Grower model, is you somewhere in a relatively affluent area where it wouldn't really make sense by just doing the calculations to invest where you live and where you work. But you could invest in a better performing area like in Ohio or Tennessee or Idaho or stuff like that, if you want to outright own the whole house or a duplex or something like that. Now, for one, because it's long-term rental, but also because it's not really a vacation area typically, it wouldn't really be attractive for that purpose to say, okay, not only am I a co-owner or an investor, but in your case, Kevin, I mean, it's super attractive to say, even discount or not, to go to the place that I'm a co-owner in, right? Like, so I think it's nice that you give, not for free, and I don't think that would be appropriate, but to give a little bit of an appreciation for people who are co-owners in the thing. And I'm sure that, I'm invested in a couple of things in Panama and in Belize, and they put on owner, not really retreats, but gatherings where you can come like for 3 or 4 days and just meet the other owners once a year. Right. So that's kind of like a cool thing too. And when you do that in a cool location like where you are, that's pretty awesome. All right. I think that covers basically what we wanted to discuss about Bali Invest. Now, if somebody says, hey, this sounds really interesting because it's also not requiring, because nobody needs to have the 125 shares, they can also buy less than that and might be interested. How do they what's the best way to get in touch with you, Kevin?
Oh, we have so many ways. I mean, we on all platforms. We even build up our Twitter account. There we start now. So then we are available on Instagram. So we have the people can contact us directly on the website. Even you can just register on our website, and then you can see the investment opportunities, and you can just buy with your decentralized wallet. So this is also an interesting way for people. They can even buy anonymously. They can get into, or they can settle up for sure. Also call with our sales team and get in touch with us, ask us all the questions. We also do once a month in English international webinar. Our general manager, Clara, well, you can get a full presentation on our YouTube. People can get so much also understanding more about Bali. I mean, we have now, I think, more than 250 videos on our YouTube channel already online. We're doing now nice vlogs. We really take the people with us on our journey. Every investor, they come on a separated Telegram group where they also can meet all the other investors, because this is also something what I can follow up what you said. This is also our plan, because the vision is not just making high returns. The vision is also to bring like-minded people together, set up masterminds, doing nice retreats, and create even bigger visions for the world. And this is why we create this perfect place in the north of Bali. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds very good. So basically the message is put Bali Invest in the Google machine, and then you should find all kinds of different places to get in touch with Kevin and his crew. All right, very good. Thank you, Kevin. The last question I asked everybody, and has nothing to do with investing, is if you could meet anybody, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, I think Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk will be super, super interesting to meet. Such a visionary thinking man. I really like. I think he's a really, really honest guy, and he really like to do something for the people, not like some other billionaires like Bill Gates, just thinking about their own pocket. I think Elon, he really want to improve the world and make the world to a better place. That's why this would be the person I would choose. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I have said that many times myself. Just yesterday I heard in a YouTube video that the latest thing that they're working on with Neuralink is, for the first time, sometime before the year is out, to help somebody who is 100% blind to see something. I mean, not like you and I vision, but at least see something.
Yeah.
And then they want to improve it from there. I mean, those are the kinds of things that I always find like mind-blowingly exciting, that people even try that, you know. So cool. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was very insightful. I'm really looking forward for our collaboration to go forward, and maybe through you coming on an American, mainly dominant English-speaking show, we get a few people to become investors in Bali Invest.
Will be amazing. Will be amazing. So happy to also to meet in person people in Bali. I mean, Bali is it's an amazing place. Even America is really far from Bali. It's definitely worth it to visit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend it too. So thanks again for being on the show, and maybe we do it again.